This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Welcome onto the Research Talks podcast here from Stockbox with Alan Green. And how are you doing today, Alan? How's your week been?
Hello, Mark. Yeah, it's been a pretty busy week up in London yesterday. We saw some new clients, an interesting play in the carbon credits blockchain space.
Okay.
We'll much more about that as we get further down the road. But yes, it's been a busy old week and been a busy week on the markets too. We're seeing stocks going up and stocks going down, of course. But yeah, sitting here on a Friday morning and the sun is shining, and I think we're in for a good weekend, which is great.
It certainly looks like it over here as well. But I do find it interesting what you say. I think the whole tech and AI space is going to be quite a fun one this year. You know, of course, we've talked about Aura Carbon. You're talking there about a company.
Yep.
Hopefully, we'll cover them at some point on Research Talks, another carbon trading platform, perhaps, or similar. I think it's going to be quite a nice year for that kind of tech and any kind of artificial intelligence. So yeah, we'll see what happens, won't we? And of course, we've got the Bitcoin halving coming up. We talked about Binance before, so maybe there'll be sort of some renewed lease of life in crypto, maybe a slightly more risk-on environment, given perhaps people are maybe adapting a bit more to the inflation, and it is, of course, sort of tapering off a little bit. And it's an election year, so let's all go crazy and blow off the stock market and elect the next president on it.
Well, I think it's we've heard so much about it's the incumbent responsibility on the government to rejuvenate the stock market and the junior market in the UK post Brexit. So I think in order to woo investors, that's something they're going to have to do. And I noted an article today that it's also incumbent on the government to woo the new generation of crypto investors and woo them away from crypto into the stock market. So we could well see some activities and promotional work in that regard this year. We certainly need to see something for sure.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about a few mining companies today. We're going to start with gold and metal. I know we covered them about 2 weeks ago, but they've had a fair bit of development just in that bit of time. And then we'll talk about East Star, who, of course, had that nice grant there from BHP Billiton, which is very good for a company to get involved with that. And then you're going to update us on Blencowe as well, the graphite project. So let's start with GMET. Let's get a quick update on where things are with GMET.
Well, GMET have had a stellar week, haven't they? I mean, the shares have leapt up over the past 5 days. They're trading at 10p on Monday, and peaked out. I think it briefly touched 16p yesterday. So that's the year high for them so far. But congratulations to Oliver and the team, Oliver Freeze and the team. Well deserved. But what is interesting is that the price driver, if you like, for the company is the Garfield project. Of course, the company's cornerstone in a sense by the Pilot Mountain project, which has that 12.5 million tons of tungsten, and of course silver, gold, and copper credits as well. It's very much viewed as a domestic source by the US government for tungsten going forward, particularly given the move away from China. The US government's stated its intention very clearly in that regard. But of course, Gold Medal also has the Kibbe Basin Lithium Project, the Golconda Summit Project, and the Stonewall Project. But Garfield has really been blazing a trail over Christmas, and it's the developments there that have pushed the share price. And of course, in December, it's a copper, silver, gold prospect in Mineral County, Nevada, and the data and the sampling has revealed a skarn and porphyry style mineralization. You've got the power lines and the high grade zone, and the company's state new territory there, the Pamlico Gold Zone, and indeed, in December we had back news of the assays from the core project at Golconda. High grade assays, 4.2% copper, 27.2% grams of ton gold. which Oliver said at the time were very much over limit results that far exceeded expectation. And indeed, on the back of that, Oliver went into the market and bought more shares at 9.35p. So, that was a very good move. And I think, CEOs should really take note and take a leaf out of Oliver's book. He's very much putting his money where his mouth is. He's buying into these results. He can do so. Obviously, he's not in the closed period, so as CEO, he can do that. But that sends out a very clear signal to the market. Then, of course, from the new zone, the Pamlico Gold Zone, the team went in there into the new ground and did some initial sampling. High grade gold and copper returns. The sample returned 22.7% gold, but more importantly, the region with the new territory is shown to have these overlapping geo data sets, which confirm the presence of porphyry style mineralization, and in the midst of that, a magnetic bullseye. And the announcer said bonanza silver and copper grades from this, but I think importantly the valuation of the company was hitherto based on Pilot Mountain, some value at Golconda, then Kibby Basin, Golconda, and Stonewall. But now we have a porphyry style system at Golconda confirmed, and indeed the sampling there is exceeding expectations every time they go in. So it's no surprise to me. I mean, the shares, as I say, have already peaked at 16p this week, currently trading around 14p. But I think there's a tremendous amount of value here. And because of the rapid pace of development, Oliver said that they're going to prioritize developing that asset as quickly as possible. And the way the way he and his team are working on the ground and getting things done is really does set an example. And to other companies running small projects like this, if you find something, go with it, stick your assets against it, stick all your resources against it, and develop it as quickly as possible. And in this way, shareholders and investors get rewarded.
Indeed, yes, it's good to see that moving on quite nicely there at Golden Metal Resources. And as you say, the Garfield one sneaking up behind perhaps when everyone was looking over at Pilot Mountain. But again, Pilot Mountain will probably surprise at some point, maybe when they get some government interest there, which I know is definitely on the cards. But that's a nice little update on there. Let's talk about East Star then, Alan, and what's going on there, because of course that's a great bit of news that they got the other day from BHP Billiton there.
Well, it is, and I know I know you've spoken to Alex, and I've also spoken to him too, and I know he's been frustrated, I think, with firstly with UK markets, as we alluded to at the start of the podcast, but also just the fact that perhaps Kazakhstan isn't as visible on investor radar as it might have been, or indeed should have been. And of course, the company Eastar Resources is wholly focused on there. And again, I think Alex, showing, blazing a trail, really showing how a CEO should be running a company. He's on the ground there in Kazakhstan, so he's not running it from the other side of the world as we do see with some companies. He's very much on the ground there. So Kazakhstan as a potential asset base is very much a global mineral powerhouse. There were new mineral laws established by the government using Western coding and the associated operating costs some time ago. You've got the majors like Blencowe, BHP, Rio, and Fortescue all actively mining in the country. And there are many brownfield resource sites where a lot of historical work has been done, but hasn't necessarily been done in a coordinated fashion. Through the middle of the country, you've got transport links which connect to both China and Europe. So the projects owned by Eastar are located close to there. So firstly, we've got to the east of Kazakhstan, we have the Rudny Altai VMS belt. There's a volcanic massive sulfide belt there. There is a JORC exploration target of 9.2 million tons at 1.4 to 1.9% copper equivalent. A number of drill-ready targets. There is in the center of Kazakhstan, a rare earth, the Talarik deposit, which has a non-compliant resource estimate of just under 20,000 tons of total rare earth oxides. Then to the south, we have the orogenic gold licenses at the Atmentis and Downley prospects. And Alex and his team have been on the ground there developing these assets and bringing them forward. And indeed, in December, the company announced that the Vakuba prospect confirmed 92.5 meters of mineralization above the cutoff grade of 0.38% copper equivalent. Of course, copper equivalent includes zinc and other minerals. Also, they confirmed thick high grade intersections with multiple copper rich ore grade intervals at mineable depths. And what it also what the report also told them was, or it gave them confidence in the accuracy of the historical drilling that had been done there. Over 42,000 meters of historical drilling had been done, which gave them confidence in bringing up this JORC target. So I think it was on the back of that news, also going back earlier than that, the Toloskoy prospect within the Rudny Altai VMS also came back with some sampling results. Three samples, 6.3% copper, 8.4%, and 2.5%. So again, further potential within that area too. We then move on to January. So that news didn't really create a stir for the share price. It didn't have an impact on the share price. January 22nd, it all started to happen when BHP or the BHP Explore, which is in a sense the venture capital and prospecting side of the business that BHP has set up. It provided non-dilutive funding, a $500,000 grant to East Star to complete the exploration program, and also the gentleman who really developed the porphyry strategy at these prospects, Chris Van Wyk, with East Star, has also joined the board as an non-exec director. So the fact that East Star have gone through the hoops, they've gone through the hoops because that funding is available to a number of companies, but of course you've got to basically prove the project up and get the project to a certain level before the funding is allocated. But that's a huge line in the sand. You know, once you're across that line, you've got a company like BHP or one of their departments actually coming in, putting the money in. It's non-dilutive to shareholders to take the business forward. That's a huge validation of what Alex and the team are trying to do there. So it's going to be really exciting because I think it'll enable them to fast track the results from the other prospects in the area, and possibly the rare earth prospect at Tellerick as well. But certainly, I think we're going to see a lot of news flow from East Star in the coming weeks and months. And of course, the funding has now given them the impetus to really accelerate the developments, particularly at the Vakuba prospect.
Yes, indeed. And I think what Alex explained to me was they can actually have the two programs running now, so they can continue with their plans to do the VMS exploration there, but the BHP money will be used for porphyry exploration. So in theory, they're going to have two exploration programs going on, looking for two different sort of mineral type deposits, which is very good. So I think very much the focus will be on the Vakuba project there, and they're in a very prolific area. All you've got to do is look on the map on the website there and see the other companies that are in the area there, and they've got access to lots of infrastructure, and I think there's certainly processing available nearby as well. So yeah, I think it could be a good year for them. They've got the two programs coming up and one backed by BHP, and I think although it might not happen, I think they've got an agreement where BHP effectively can have first right of refusal if they decide they want a bit of interest. So, it's a big name, isn't it? One of the big five. So it's great to have that kind of name, even associated with just grant funding for a junior. I think that's a very nice.
It's a huge shame. Yeah, it's a huge shame, and as you say, Mark, what that does once the first tranche of funding has been provided, it very much leads on to the next stage, and it opens the way to BHP coming in because again, we've said this before. You've got junior explorers out there looking at these assets, developing the assets to a certain point, and then the majors come in and take a stake. We've said, of course, saw that with GGP in Australia, and we've seen it with other companies as well around the world. They'll come and take on the project, or buy a stake in the project, provide the resource and the funding to develop the project and get it done. And of course, BHP Explore is it's an accelerator program. It's there to unearth new critical mineral deposits by bringing their resource, their expertise, their innovation, and of course money to accelerate these prospects. So I think what we're going to see is the developments, or the pace of developments, as you say, with the porphyry and the VMS exploration at Blencowe really start to accelerate, and we'll no doubt hear more from Alex in the coming months.
Indeed, indeed. Well, Blencowe Resources, then, Alan, do you want to bring us up to speed on what's going on there?
Well, certainly. I mean, Blencowe are in a similar position, albeit they're much further down the road. So, Blencowe, of course, were they reversed into a company back in 2020. Consolidated African Resources. There was an RTO, and that happened some years ago. And the company is the 100% owner of the Orome Cross graphite project in Uganda. And of course, the whole premise behind the asset is the fact that the jumbo graphite flakes, which are in abundance across the project, are almost literally sticking out of the ground. So in terms of pulling the graphite out of the ground, you can literally drive across it with a tractor and hoe. It's actually visible if you walk across, and you can pull the stuff out of the ground. So that was what initiated the interest. But of course, it's they've got over 2,000 square kilometers with this project. So where do you start? So they identified a high grade zone, and we've gone through the various phases of developing. We've gone through PEA, we've gone through PFS, and the DFS program is now well underway. And what the companies has done to get that across the line, it's undertaken huge amounts of testing with independent experts. Company announced last October, for instance, Wuhan University and American Energy Technology had tested bulk samples, and they both confirmed that the graphite that was produced from the bulk sample was SPG, spherified purified graphite, and the purity was well over 99.9%. Which Cameron Pearce, the exec chairman, said were outstanding, and ticked all the boxes as one of the most important aspects of the DFS. And of course, when you've got independent verification of the quality, it then means that it's very easy for potential takeoff partners to come into the company and set up the takeoff deal. So there's a queue of potential partners waiting to confirm the results and get this to happen. Also interesting to note that over the past year, Blencowe has seen investors come in. Jangada Mines, RAB Capital, and JEB Capital are all major shareholders. All three of those, when the company raised money, say in May last year, they raised 635,000. Those three shareholders subscribed into that fundraise to maintain the respective holdings. Shortly after that, Resolve Research published a buy note for the company, 23.3p target price. Orome Cross fast becoming a tier one project, was very much at a value inflection point. but the key thing that, or the key driver, which has seemingly yet to materialize in the share price, is the funding that they have from the Development Finance Corporation, DFC. This is an agency of the US government, and it's the company have provided non-dilutive grant funding of $5 million. And this funding is completed in tranches. So, of course, they have to achieve certain milestones to qualify for the next phase of funding, and it's issued in 5 tranches, $1 million a time. And of course, what this has done by bringing the Development Finance Corporation in, it's completely de-risked the project, because the DFC will have done its due diligence and research prior to getting involved. They'll know the quality, and they'll know that really in production terms, Blencowe resources are very much on the home run. So, of course, the company announced yesterday that the DFS or the DFS was continuing across Uganda, China, USA, and in Australia. And the second tranche of funding had been received. That's the second $1 million. And the company noted much interest from a large cross section of offtake groups. So we've got all this sample work being completed, and with the DFS underway. Why Blencowe are currently trading at 4.3p is a complete mystery, because it gives the company a valuation of 8.5 million. And I think with the company, when the company has $5 million in grant funding coming its way, it's had $2 million now, further $3 million to come. So we should really be seeing some movement in the share price. But I think at this level, I don't think you'll ever pick up Blencowe at a lower share price at the current 4.3p.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Alan, for giving us a bit of an update there on Blencowe. I mean, when do you think? It's always interesting to talk about the sort of catalyst event when it might get recognised. You've got any thoughts on that?
Well, I would have thought that the catalyst event would have been the ongoing receipt of the funding, because of course the funding goes directly into the DFS process. So they've already completed, as a result of having completed the tailings processing disposal option study, the SPG graphite work completed, processing plant flow sheet. That they've mined a further 600 tons of bulk sample ready for export for stage 2 commercial testing. So all of this has been done. So the Yoram Cross project is very nearly at the stage where it's going to where the mine, the beneficiation plant, all of the processing plant will be built and of course completed. But there's a lot of infrastructure there already, and it's going through these phases now to get it to that point. So we'll have another tranche paid, I imagine, at the end of Q1, early Q2, and it will.
And this is 5 million, isn't it? From that they'll get into.
It's $5 million from the US government. It's the DFC, the Development Finance Corporation. It's an agency of the US government. The US government wants a graphite resource, and it's put $5 million non-dilutive funding into Blencowe Resources.
Right. So we've just talked about Pilot Mountain potentially getting US funding, but actually maybe it means nothing because you've got their 5 million and it's still quite a low market cap.
There is a disconnect here. I mean, I guess you could look at gold metal and say, well, you've got the Pilot Mountain project, but you've got Garfield and the other projects too. So and Blencowe is very much it's very much a single project. It's very much arm cross. But I think the project is so far down the road now. You know, the graphite is being proved up in research labs all around the world. The quality, the purity. Because of course we've spoken about this before. If graphite comes out of the ground, say at the Oran Cross project, and then it comes out of the ground, say 300-400 miles further south at another project, that graphite will be completely different, and it may not be compatible it may not be battery grade and all the rest of it. So you can find graphite for sure, but will it do the job? Will it be suitable for implementation into batteries? And of course, that's the big question mark. The Iron Cross graphite is being proved up around the world, independently tested, independently verified, and it's 99.99% in purity. And of course, that's battery grade all the way. The market's missing a trick here, I believe, and I think at some point, maybe when the next tranche of money comes in, all of a sudden, the market will take a look and say, "Well, hang on, they've nearly got all the money now. It's all over bar the shouting. So this company is about to go into production, and at that point, we should really see the share price start to accelerate, if not beforehand."
Yeah, well, it just takes something, doesn't it? You've seen it before where you think, oh gosh, that's a really great bit of development on that project day, GGP, for example, and it doesn't get recognised, and suddenly one day it does. With backing there from the US government of 5 million, and that's to get some graphite into production. Is that the sort of end goal, if you like?
It's to complete the DFS and
To complete the
bring the
DFS,
project
to then see how feasible it is. But it's even on study stage. So,
yeah.
well, that's a good example of the government actually doing what they what we suspect, and we've been thinking that they might do for a while. So they're not messing around then. Maybe it takes a DFS for it to actually be recognised. Who knows? Or maybe just before. But that's a very key point, isn't it? The DFS in any of these companies' developments. So. And that was. Do you know when that's about? When this forecast to come out, Alan? Do you know?
Well, the DFS will be in the announcement, the company is well on its way to completing the milestones for the third DFC tranche of grant funds, which will deliver another
For
1
DFS,
million.
okay.
So well on its way. I would imagine. I mean, there's about 2 to 3 months. So I would say probably early mid quarter 2, and then of course at that point you'll start to see the steps the company needs to take to get into production. And,
okay. So we're talking maybe towards the end of the year to have a full DFS completed. But I mean, they do take a while. But it's a very big milestone. So
it is. It's a huge milestone. But I think the thing is with when you're investing in companies like this, you have to understand the process and the time the process takes and to complete. You've got to go through those stages because, of course, you've got to know that battery has been independent, or that graphite has been independently tested all around the world, and everyone finds the same result, and that's what we're seeing now. But of course, you then got to go through the process to get it into production. Of course, that's when the company starts to earn serious money, but we're not there yet. So maybe the markets are just taking that view, hoping the price will drop further so they can jump in, at
who knows?
low levels.
All that money that's in the big indices has to filter down. S&P is breaking all-time highs. NASDAQ did it a few weeks ago, and the Dow did it before Christmas. So this money's got to filter down. Hopefully it happens in fairly short order. But thank you for bringing that to our attention, Alan, and thank you for covering the other companies there, Eaststone, of course, gold and metal. So enjoy your weekend, and we'll speak in a week's time.
Thank you, Mark. You too.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.